I guess we got to start with the question everyone wants to know. What is the state of Tiger's game right now as he looks for an incredible repeat performance?
Well, Z-Man, it's always wonderful to be on with you, first of all. I think it's pretty interesting that a lot of people don't realize that Tiger Woods is actually the defending champion here. It's been so long, and there's been so much talk about how he's not playing any good and how he's not ready and how he hasn't played enough, which is all true. He has not played some great golf. But I think it's really important, the fact that he looks very comfortable here. It looks like his body's working well. And I think if you take a world-class athlete where there's been greatness and he's in a good spot and he's comfortable, there's a good chance he can play well. Now, his record in the last 12 months would indicate there's no chance that he could compete here. But this is a golf course that he's won on 5 times. He understands that it's a course that takes an awful lot of experience on to get it around, understanding where to hit it, where to miss it, those sort of things. And if he can get off to a decent start, and it's all up to his putter. He's hit the ball okay over the last year, but he has not putted very well. So if he can putt the ball decent, you never know. But, when a player's a great player, great things happen once in a while.
Now, you speak about that, the familiarity with the course, but could that be fool's gold because now it's in November and everything may look the same, but it's not the same, knowing that the greens could be different and the ball could be different, knowing that the moisture and the conditions from the elements are different from April than it is in November?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. The grass obviously is not as mature as it is in April, but they haven't changed the holes. You still have to play them a certain way. You still have to miss it on the right side of a particular green versus the left side, and he understands that. And I think last year was the perfect example of what a veteran player understands about winning at Augusta, and that was how he played the 12th hole. So many guys went for the pin on the back right pin, put it in the water. Tiger put it 50, 60 feet left. A very safe, smart shot, but that's the kind of shot you have to hit on 12 on a Sunday. And I think that's the kind of experience that a first or second year player just doesn't have.
Now, not just with golf, with all sports. You talk about veteran players kind of understand and be able to perform in the moment. With no fans, will it be easier to play there for some players that may succumb to the pressure of playing and missing in front of people?
Well, I think that's a big point, that both Tiger and Rory have spoken during the season about how there's no energy. They're so used to having so many people around them and feeding off of that energy, and people spurring you on when you're struggling. That's a big part. And I think we've seen some younger players have success this year and have actually won some big events because there's nothing else going around. There's not the buzz around it. I think it's probably simpler for an inexperienced player to play when there's no gallery or patrons as here. But at the same time, this is a little different animal than 3 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, just a regular tour event.
Andy, Jay Williams here. How you doing, brother, first and foremost?
Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's like yesterday we were at Wisconsin practice, man, watching your Badgers hoop.
No kidding.
From being on the golf course a ton and playing in a lot of these, like mini pro-ams, having fans. Like last year watching the Masters, the amount of roars that you heard from fans on the course when Tiger was making putts, it almost felt like whenever you saw the cameras tune into other players, like their chin would lift up. They would pay attention to it. How does that factor in when you don't know what else is happening on the course? Does that take more? Does it put more pressure on you? Does it take the pressure off, Andy? How do you assume that will be handled?
That's one of the most intriguing parts of this particular championship is that the patrons really do play a big part of it because of the roars and the noise. I mean, I know when I was playing, I knew if it was a Palmer par or a birdie by Nicklaus. I mean, you could tell who made the putt or who made the shot and where it was, and you could tell by the different roars who that player was, which is amazing. And, Tiger's had the same effect on these guys today. And it's not only the positive effect for the player doing it, but it's also negative for guys that, oh, geez, Tiger made another birdie before it even goes up on the scoreboard, or Tiger's done something well. And another spot where it made such a difference, let's say you're on the 11th green, and the group in front of you hits it in the water at 12. The groan is unbelievable. I mean, it's like the guy missing the free throw at 1-1 at the end of the game. It says, oh, my gosh, he's got to shoot another free throw. We're dead. That kind of attitude. And now as a player on the 11th green, you're thinking, oh, geez, you're starting to think about that shot before you need to. So the roars and the groans really do have a big impact, and it's going to be really weird. I walked the golf course on Monday quite a bit, and it was so silent. I mean, you didn't even hear the birds. It was like it was eerie. It was like if you've ever gone to the redwoods and you get deep into the redwoods and there's not a sound. That's how it feels here.
Last thing for you, the sound that the driver makes when the club face hits the ball off of Bryson DeChambeau's shaft.
It's just like yours, man. It's the same sound yours make.
I'm usually a little OB. He might not be. He might be at the top of the leaderboard. But for the casual golf fan, Andy, that may not know this guy hits it a country mile every time he tees it up, how might his game and his reformed body and approach attack Augusta National?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that are very important at Augusta National. Greens in regulation usually indicates the winner, or close to it. Very seldom do you have a guy win here that doesn't rank really high in greens in regulation. Of the 5 Masters, Tiger's won. He's been number 1 in greens regulation 4 times and finished number 2 the 5th time. So hitting the ball on the green in the right place is paramount. But if you can drive it far enough that you've got a pitching wedge into these greens, it's much easier to put the ball in the right position on the green, so you've got some birdie opportunities. So the distance that Bryson is hitting it is going to make such a difference on approach shots, and the fact that he can hit on every one of the par 5s easily. He doesn't have to strain to do it. He can just hit a normal drive and a 5-iron to most of these par 5s.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.